Attention, all gamers. I might be no longer unemployed, which means, I don't know. Well, you're still gonna get these videos, but we'll see. We'll see. I had an interview. It went well, I think. But we've got a few more, and I'm excited for that. But at the same time, there were a lot of candidates, so we'll see. We'll see. And I guess that makes my day a mixed bag of emotions because Dandadan came in and had its own mixed bag of emotions where there's the nerves about certain things, but there's also stuff to be in deep thought about and to also be happy about, while also a little bit of sadness and concern. Um, I guess the big elephant in the room, right, is Momo. Maybe not. Honestly, maybe not. Maybe you focused on something else. But after last chapter, it seems like our devastation needs to be put on hold. And a lot of people in the community, I just smacked my light, a lot of the people in the community have actually come up with great ways where honestly this hardship is going to be resolved in the end. And also, Tatsu's not Fujimoto. He might have worked under him, but we're not gonna get a crazy, crazy tragic like love story, I think. I think. Also have to freaking clear out my throat, but that's okay. We'll put it on the hold, like we'll put it on hold, right? There's the there's that mirror woman. I forget what they're called, but they're very ugly. But in lore like purposes, they're also really gorgeous. But forget their name. But there's a few factors that will come into place here that I've seen and have delved into. And now that we're 2 minutes in, maybe I should actually delve into some more stuff that happened this chapter. So there is the fact that Saint Germain is running a bakery. And you know what's really fucking funny? I don't know if this is like a worldwide bakery. I just want you to know, to those of you who are not native to Toronto, there's a bakery in Toronto called Saint Germain. I'm not fucking kidding. I'm not kidding. So when I saw today's chapter, that was fucking hilarious. That was absolutely fucking hilarious. Next time I'm there, they're usually at the malls in the Toronto area or in and around the Toronto area. I will be taking pictures and posting huge Dandadan spoilers. And you will like it, right? There might be meat buns there, but hey, like that's a huge Dandadan spoiler, you know? But on a serious note, I think this whole, I was gonna say kerfuffle. It wasn't really a kerfuffle, it was more like a report back from Enenra, while we also see Exomorph Kerr in action, but in banking action, we observe a few things. Enenra has been defeated, but they do have observational data over how Kouki has awakened her power proper. Now, there's probably this perception that a bunch of them, a bunch of that group, probably has this power too. In fact, I think the ultimate yokai term that they used is dandadan. There's often a situation where the Japanese will have a title that's very straight to the point, and we'll kind of have a roundabout, like, it'll be more than one word, where dandadan means the ultimate yokai. But I think rather than making the series called the ultimate yokai, the big brain perception and or the reason why this is told to us in this manner is we're finally starting to figure out what it is deep into the series. For now, like up until this point, honestly, other than maybe some loose yokai and like powers like forming all this sort of thing, we could speculate as to what it could potentially be. But now we have generic man with a like a turning wheel thing. Can you tell that I'm not usually engaged in this sort of stuff? Bear with me, okay? And that's the summoner of the Dandadan, the ultimate yokai. And there's processing that. There's also there's something with Kerr that I find quite important here, where, funnily enough, Saint Germain is like, yo, we gotta be besties. We gotta be business partners. We gotta be the, not really, he didn't say that, but we gotta be on like amicable terms in order to be able to cooperate and make things happen. And we kind of see them fail at this, especially Enenra's synergy with the Serbians, as they just do not deliver in that fight. And we see Jiji and Evil Eye like basically run Enenra like ragged. And it's funny because the Serpians did have a truce with Momo at some point in the crew, and or maybe it was just Momo. But anyway, there was a level of understanding that they would upkeep what they agreed upon. So now it's quite it's quite interesting how, oh my god, amicable side is actually doing some things passively, or I guess like, yeah, like they're not actively like, yo, we're we're trying to fight back, but they're, I guess, like fighting back with kindness. And I like there's an irony to what Saint Germain is saying, where he's trying to get recruits, but these recruits are easy to kind of change. And I brought up Court, and I hardly went into it, but with Court, there is a level of understanding that with the cranes that they're going to change their mind. Cranes often have a like a symbolism to fidelity and longevity and good fortune and happiness, right? I totally didn't look that up. And I think everything with Tatsu's writing is very detail oriented, right? He's a nerd, he's our BACKK nerd, but we love him to bits. Um Unnecessary. Sorry, Tatsu. But there's a level of that where I go, this is intentional. The way that Core reacts to getting that crane, the way that Core kind of gives off this vibe of, yeah, I feel like I'm just associating with Saint Germain at the moment because I kind of need him to achieve my goals, whatever it be. And Saint Germain's trying to align those goals with everyone loosely while also having everyone on strings, but by doing that, you don't really have the meaningful relationships you need. Eventually, there will be a point where I think he takes it by storm, and there's an ability that kind of conjoins everything. And I think that Dandadan will form, right? That's going to be our, I guess, rising action to climax sort of thing. Look at me. I'm not dreading music movie talk from grade 11 and grade 12 English class analyzing this. No, I would never, right? But I think there's an understanding that these powers will synergize, but at the same time, Saint Germain's perception on how in control he is over some factors is a little bit delulu and a little bit inaccurate. But it's interesting. Now we also cut back to the other side of things, where Seiko basically says, you know what? Corporation's bad. Well, not okay. Not quite the point that Seiko was trying to say. But there was the thing called the Black Paladins, and they're super strong and they collect yokai and curses and can be used essentially like hitmen for companies. Basically word for word what was written by Egan, but it was really well put, where they kind of hide behind these things. I'm sure that there's like ulterior motives and ego and drive and control and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see. We'll see where that takes us. And I am tired and out of breath. What the hell? I haven't had enough coffee yet. Clearly. Oh my god. But I think this is a very insightful and very intriguing chapter as to what's going on in Saint Germain HQ, right? Like Geezer HQ or whatever we want to call it. But it's exciting. and it's distracting us from the pain of Momoku. The most important thing is Momo's got to get her powers back somehow, and we'll see. We'll see where that takes us, what adventures we go on, and at least we don't have a goose chase for the same exact thing anymore. At least we've got something new. Thank you, Tatsu. And thank you for watching.